The Leafs and William Nylander have reached an agreement, $11.5 million for 8 years. If you're expecting me to come on this video and start ripping this contract apart saying, oh, Nylander's not worth the money, oh, the Leafs overpaid, oh, no hometown discount, this, that, the other, this is not that video. Look, Nylander played his way into this contract. He essentially did what Huberdeau did. Huberdeau came out, had a massive season, and got paid handsomely by the Flames in this case. And, he didn't replicate it after that. But Nylander is having a career season. He's on pace for about 120 points right now. Is he going to hit it? I don't know. But he over 100-point pace in this market, in this economy, you're looking at 11.5 plus. The cap's going up, quote unquote, right? Which we'll get to in a minute. But essentially, the money was always going to be there for Nylander. It's whether you wanted to pay it or not is the question. Because the market would dictate the value of Nylander. There was no other free agent like Nylander. And I'm sure a team, potentially like a Chicago Blackhawks would back up the truck and say, you want to ride shotgun with Connor Bedard? Some team like that, young, up and coming, just would slam them with money. So 11.5 million. It might seem like an overpay, but the money's money. I don't know what you could have got him in the summer for. Maybe he stayed at that number the whole time, but this is the direction they chose, and they've committed themselves to Nylander for 8 more years. At least we have certainty, and there's going to be no more contract talk with him. Him wanting to stay, there'll be contract talk if he doesn't perform. It's like, oh, he's getting paid this. So now he essentially put himself in a position where he needs to continuously perform in his career, but knowing who he is, he seems unfazed by this market, so he's just going to go out there and do his thing. So what I really wanted to focus on is not this contract, it's the direction of the Leafs going forward. What are they going to look like? Because we don't know. We don't know what direction they're going to go in. They are only committed long-term, like medium-term, I would say, to Matthews and Nylander. So this is what the cap is going to look like in 2 years. Like next season, it's going to go up to 87.5, which is a $4 million increase, which essentially was eaten up by Nylander alone. I thought, maybe a combination, that $4 million was going to go both to Nylander and Matthews. Looks like it just went all to Nylander plus more. So that happened. And then Cap Friendly estimates that the cap will be up to 92 million. So we got to focus more on that season because I played around. There's a lot of RFAs still. I played around in Cap Friendly. They're going to have to sign a bunch of their RFAs, but they're looking at 21 million cap space to effectively fill out 3 forward slots. I still think they need a second, third line center. Whether you get a center that's better than Tavares, I don't know. But somebody that can definitely slot into that 3 role because Kampf is just not it. And then, that defense we all know needs work. So, that's 3 slots right there. Can they pick up a Benoit for cheaper, a Liljegren for cheaper? Some of their RFAs, sure. Up front, too, a Robertson coming back. He won't be that expensive, but, is he going to stay? Is he going to go? The last 2 games he was scratched. We don't know what direction they're going with him. I think a lot of money, more money, needs to be allocated to that second goalie position as well. Woll needs a proven backup starter like a Martin Jones. To maybe they keep Martin Jones, but if he keeps playing like this, somebody will give him $4 million. Maybe not on a long-term deal, but a stopgap maybe. So, we need to allocate some money to a guy that could chew some minutes up because choose some starts, maybe split the starts, because Wall in his short career so far, you know, he hasn't had a clean bill of health, and that like he's a very good goalie, but he hasn't consistently started 60 games. Like, he's not there, so you're gonna have to pay somebody unless the Hildebeest comes up and you have two ELC goalies basically. Well, Wall is an ELC; it's second contract, but you know, effectively, this is what you're looking at. Most of the forwards filled out, and now they got to focus on that D-core and filling out the remainder of the depth of the lineup. So, you know, it is what it is, but the next season is when they really have money to play with. They have to decide their direction. This is the direction-changing season. So Tavares comes off the books. We finally finish a seven-year deal. So everybody's saying he's going to sign dirt cheap. From everybody I've talked to, you know, in my group, he's taking a league min. No, he's not. No, what? No, he's not. I don't think he's taking league min. I personally think the Kopitar contract is what you're looking at for him. Or if he truly wants to play here, wants to win here and be a captain, you're looking at $3 million less than $3 million. I think that's the way it looks like. I think if you're looking at the Kopitar deal, he got 7 times 2. That's a comparable. But if you're putting the leadership on him and everything that comes with that, and you're all expecting less, like a league min, he's gonna start playing for dirt cheap. This like he's still got some gas in him. Like, he'll get his 70 points. I think he's gonna come back and say, yeah, I'll play for league min. No, that's ridiculous. So I'm thinking the Kopitar contract, or if he really, really is the leader and the captain of this team, you're looking at $3 million. 3 to 4. But you know, that's that. And then you have the Marner deal, which is a defining deal, because I already saw a report. I don't know how reliable this reporter is. I'm not sure. I saw it on Twitter. It doesn't really count, but people are now saying that he's going to get above Nylander at 11.5. He's already projected. That is a decision you have to make, because we're going to review some Stanley Cup winning teams, and we're going to see how many of those contracts they have, breaching the $10 million mark. Newsflash, there's not a lot. So if they elect to re-sign Marner long-term at that, let's say, 12.5 McDavid money, like, they're essentially going back at it with the same core and the same strategy, and they're gonna have to continue. Like, the reason why the Dubas core, the Dubas plan, the original "we can and we will" didn't work, is because the thing is, he expected year 3, probably 4 and 5 of that Matthews era, of that that second contract, he expected right then and there the cap to balloon to where it is today, probably more. He was thinking, the cap's going to be $100 million. These contracts are going to look like steals. And that's the thing. They're going back at it with the same strategy. The cap has to be back. It's going up. It's going up. You're projecting for something that may not happen. What if there's another global event? What if the NHL, what if there's an economic crash? Like, you think the cap's going to balloon to $100 million? You're going to be essentially stuck in the same model, playing around the same three, 4 guys up front. You know, Nylander's last contract was good, right? It aged well. The others didn't, right? Because of the cap. They played to the number. People argue Tavares didn't, but overall, it wasn't conducive to building a team with depth. They didn't have that consistent depth to build year over year. They had to keep swapping in the depth pieces. They didn't really get a chance to settle in. Like, you know, Hyman gone. You know, Bunting gone. Like, just all the depth. just those kind of players that you like to keep and to build around. You just have to keep reshuffling, right? So, this is the defining moment. The next contracts for Tavares and for Marner will define the direction of this team. Because let's take a look. The Vegas Golden Knights last season had effectively, like, they played with the cap. They did the LTIR thing with Mark Stone, but they had two of those bigger deals that were around 10 million. And then you look at the rest of the team. You look at the depth. You look at the amount. Look at like player on the left side 2 through like 6, through 10. They had contracts around the $6 to like $2 million mark that were pretty much essential for them to win a cup. The Leafs can't do that with these massive deals, especially next season. They can't have the William Karlssons, the Alec Martinez's. Shea Theodore's an outlier. His next contract's going to be they signed him to a really good deal. The Riley Smiths, the Marchessaults, like, you can't, you know what I mean? They can't do that. The Leafs can't do that with this cap structure. And, it comes down to they're getting paid the money. They got it done. They got to do it in the playoffs. In the playoffs, like, the way it works is if the big boys aren't going, then you're pretty much screwed. So you're going to need that depth. You need the depth. If the Leafs had a competent third line that could pick up the slack, that could score, that could maybe teams, when they're scoring, teams will put the better matchups and give breathing room to the big guys, then they're better. But they can't do that with these massive $10 million deals. Plus million, 11. It's actually 11. Like, it's just not an effective strategy to go back at it, right? They can do it with just Matthews and Nylander, but if they throw a Marner in at 12, 13 million, whatever they give them, that's it. I don't know. They're gonna and then they're relying on the cap in Matthews' new contract year 2 or 3 to go up. Like, you can't do that. You can't do that. It didn't work. It didn't work. Let's look at the Avalanche again. They had Makar and Rantanen. And then the rest, that McKinnon deal, they won in the second contract. The Leafs really messed up with the second contracts. They really did. Because they got McKinnon for a bargain. And guess what? They won. They may have won one, they're up and down. They're not up and down. They're a really good team, but they had the depth. Again, look at their defense. The Leafs, look at their defense. They got nothing. They got Riley. Everybody else is maybe a 4 or below. Like, I don't know if I'm going to get roasted for saying this, but Brody, he's a 4 or below. Like McCabe, I would prefer him on a third pair. I think if you have McCabe on your third pair, that's a really good defense. But he's on the second pair. Like, you need better defensemen, and you can't pay them. You can't go out there in the offseason and be like, Noah Hannafin. He's one of the better ones. Brett Pesce. You can't be like, here you go. Here's some money. Come play for the league. They can't afford that. They can't afford those defensemen at these numbers, right? And then obviously Tampa Bay, and everybody's going to point to the Kucherov thing. But still, if you look at the team and you look at the way they paid the players, they had that middle $6 to $2 million range. They had Blake Coleman there on a really good deal. They had that middle range of decent players. You have your top end, then you have the middle. You have a couple of bargain contracts. And then, you know, you have that depth. It's there. And the Leafs, they don't have that. This is what we're working with over the next this season and the next two. There's no, and the thing is too, you got to remember, I expect the way Nyes plays, I expect him to really break out next season, and then they're going to pay him, and I don't know how much he's going to want, right? They're going to have to, right? Are we going to keep letting go young talent and talented left wingers just because, like, he needs to stay? Like, you're not in a position in the Chicago era to be, like, when you're winning, to keep selling off pieces. They were not even close to that position. They haven't won anything. They've won a round. That doesn't count. So next season, there's definitely going to be pain. Definitely. It's going to be difficult to fill out the roster, effectively, right? And then the next season is where you really make that decision, where you want to go. What are you going to do with JT? Is he willing to take that massive haircut down to 3 or below? 4 or below? Or is he looking at a Kopitar? And if he's looking at a Kopitar, you got to make the decision. JT, we love you, but and you came home and you wanted to play for your hometown team, and you were one of the first, like, homegrown talent to do that, and we appreciate you, but we can't win with that number. We can't. And then you got to make a decision on Marner too. That's the call. You got to make the decision on Mitch Marner. Do you want to commit to Mitch at whatever $1 million, like 10, 11, 12, 13? Do you want to commit that to Mitch going forward? Is that something you want to do? Do you want to roll with 3 $10 million deals, $10+ million deals? Well, I guess it'll be 11 plus. Do you want to roll with that? Like, I have to keep raising the bar. That's how ridiculous this is getting. When you haven't won anything, you want to keep doing the same strategy. I think in the offseason, you have to sit down, Mitch. Here's the Nylander contract. What do you think? We're looking at this number. If they say 13, you say, look, what do you want to do? We're not willing to go. Do you want to go somewhere else, or do you want to stay? Because we're not like, we cannot keep doing this. We are going to keep failing. Like, these guys are laughing. You think like they're getting paid. They're going to be okay at the end of the day, win or lose. Like, do they want to win? I'm sure they do. I'm sure everybody in the NHL wants to win the Stanley Cup if they could. But they're going to be fine. They're multimillionaires. They're multimillionaires. Like, I feel like I don't know how this started and how this culture started of just wanting to get the most money. Like, we're like, I don't know. I like, they all say they want to win, but like, and you know what? Look, it's fair for them to maximize their future, like their earnings. Like, it's fair. It's completely fair. But like, in this cap world, you kind of have to sacrifice. You got to make the sacrifice. And I don't see sacrifices anywhere on this roster. And Mitch, I don't think he'll sacrifice anything. I don't think he'll say, just give me 10-5. That's fair. He's already got, like, what? He's got like 60 million coming to him, at least 66. He already has 66 probably. Like, give me another 80, 90 million to 100 million. Like, I get it. You want to maximize, but you know that it's a numbers. The way the NHL works these days is it's a numbers game. And the Leafs need to pick a direction, and it starts next after next season, and it really does. That's the window. That's the window where they can make massive changes or they can double down and go forward with what they've already done. It's 11 plus, well, it's even more, $11+ million deals. So, you know, what would I do? I like I said, I think this model hasn't worked. And, you know, when people say, oh, just keep going back at it, they're going the Washington model. They're going to keep going at it until they eventually get one. You know what the difference is between Washington and Toronto? That model. You know what the real difference is? Washington actually won President's trophies. They dominated the regular season. They absolutely dominated. The Leafs do not dominate the regular season. They do not have President's trophies. They had one bubble season where they only played Canadian teams. How is that domination? It's not. It's not. Like there's no comparison. They're not that Washington team. Let's get that comparison out. They gotta make changes. They gotta do something. And I foresee the same narrative being played out. And they can't resculpt the blue line they can't do it. They have no assets. And what little they do, Fraser Minton, Easton Cowan, that first round pick. If you want to throw some young guys in the team right now into that discussion, like a Robertson and a Nyes and maybe a Liljegren, like if you want to throw those players as assets to make a bigger move, they can't really afford to give up their cheap contracts. They can't, because the future, they need them. They need them. So, like that first, I know some people might criticize me for, I don't think they should trade it. Like, I don't know how you're going to make upgrades. I don't think you can. You need the ELC deals. You need them. And we didn't have many high picks in the past. Some of the picks are just starting to turn out from the Dubas era, like Nyes. You know, Holmberg's on the roster. You know, so some of them are just coming up. But you need those ELC guys. So, like, I don't know how you're making improvement. They can burn the future. Like, they can. But if they don't win, which I don't think this team will, the way it's currently constructed, I don't think whatever you add to this is winning the cup this season. You know, you're basically giving an asset away for a rental, and then it's not going to help you. So it's tough. The Leafs are definitely in a tough position, and you know, they locked up Nylander. Matthews is here. This is the way it is for this season and the next 4. They got some tough decisions to make. They have chosen a path which I don't know. I don't know. So they're doubling down on the strategy that hasn't worked. So yeah. Thanks for watching.